This is example 2 on page 386. And we are solving a radical equation again. Notice that you don't see a radical here, but we know that this to the 2/3 power is like saying the third root of something squared. So it really is a radical, even if it doesn't look like it. So we follow the same steps. First, isolate the radical. Right? In this case, divide both sides by 2. So now we have x minus 2 to the 2/3 equals 25. Okay, we have isolated the radical. Now we need to undo the radical. Second step, undo the radical, right? How do we undo raising something to the 2/3 power? We raise it to the reciprocal power, 3/2. Right? When I raise a power to a power, then I'm going to multiply the exponents. 2/3 times 3/2 gives us x minus 2 to the first power, which is what we want. Right? 25 to the 3/2. The square root of 25 is 5. 5 to the third is 125. You can put that in the calculator if you want to figure that out, if you don't understand how to take the square root and then cube it. Okay, but there is one mistake on what I've got written here. And that is this. At the step that I raised both sides to the 3/2 power. That 2 in the denominator means I just took a square root. And I know when I take a square root that the result must be positive. It's possible this expression, x minus 2, will be negative. And just like we learned at the beginning of this chapter, when you take an even root, sometimes you need to use absolute value symbols. And in this case, we do too. So what's more correct here is I have to say x minus 2 in absolute value equals 125. Right, so now our third step in the process, solve the equation. Well, this equation is absolute value. So you have to remember, how did we learn to solve absolute value equations? Okay, first we isolated the absolute value. Then we set it, what was inside the absolute value equal to the positive right-hand side and the negative right-hand side. That's two equations solved. X equals 127. X equals negative 123.